I want to start off with, you got to know what you own at the end of the day. And this was a story that dug into what the state pension plan for Florida teachers actually held. And it turns out they hold a lot of gun stocks.
Yeah, this is a really interesting story and some great reporting from our colleagues over in Bloomberg News about this. They basically dug into public filings and found that the Florida retirement system did, as you said, invest in this very gun maker that made the gun that was used in the attack.
And it's American Outdoor Brands, which you otherwise might know it as Smith & Wesson, disguised under a different type of name. And the issue, though, there too is social investing. Like, how active are we going to get shareholders who are very removed from the equity market getting involved in this kind of situation? And
there are a couple elements here. I mean, one is the public stocks as referenced here. And this was an issue also when we go back to Sandy Hook and CalSTRS and CalPERS, I believe, both pulled out of, in the wake of that tragedy, pulled some of their stock holdings out of some gun makers. There's another element to this, which goes back to private equity, whereby, that's a step removed, where a public pension fund or an endowment owns, is an investor, a limited partner in a private equity fund. This was most prominently the case with Cerberus.
Cerberus, exactly.
Just a few years ago. Yeah. And so in that case, you don't have really any control over what the private equity fund invests in, but you can essentially walk away from the fund at some point.
But it's one of the unintended consequences of the ETFs, of passive investing, because if you ever own an ETF, you get a list of hundreds of stocks that you own one or two of, and you don't go through every single stock and say, boy, I don't want that one.
But we are entering an era, I think, where any investor, whether it's a pensioner, whether it's someone in their 401k, is taking a closer look at these sorts of things. And there are, funds that are marketed in all sorts of ways to really lay out what is ultimately owned, by the stockholders.
And David, they did it with oil, and it actually worked on the margin.
That's right. So, and even before that, South Africa, disinvestment in South Africa
tobacco.
For apartheid.
Yeah,
exactly.
Tobacco,
It's been
totally.